Welcome, So-La-Rah here. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'd like to welcome you if this is your first time to my channel. I invite you to stick around and see if there are any messages that are vibing with you and you're vibing with my energy specifically. If you are, then please, I invite you to do the YouTube thing if you feel like it, to like, to share, to comment, and to subscribe. Welcome to those of you who've been rolling with me for a while, or those of you who are newly subscribed. It's wonderful to have you all here, and I thank you for all the ways that you support me and that you support the channel. I really do appreciate all of you. For those of you who are interested in the tarot astrology reading I did, it's up on my other channel, So-La-Rah Rises, the tarot astrology reading for this past eclipse, the new moon in Libra. Okay, so it's still pertinent, even though the time has passed. It's still speaking about what these energies are bringing in for us right now. So if that's of interest to you, it is posted. I have one announcement, and that is I'm recording this on Monday, the 16th of October. And for those of you who have an interest in ordering your personal tarot astrology for the full moon in Taurus, the next eclipse that's coming up on the 28th of October or the 29th, depending on where you are in the world, I am taking bookings for that only up until this Friday, the 20th of October, up until 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have a few slots left still for those of you who are looking for reading specifically, but my slots are more limited for those of you who are wanting to do it one-to-one live. I am freeing up 3 days next week for that. That would be Monday, the 23rd, Tuesday the 24th, and Wednesday the 25th. So if you would like to book either for a reading, an audio or video reading, or you would like to, to do the one-to-one tarot astrology, personal tarot astrology on how the energies of the upcoming eclipse are going to have an effect on your own personal astrology, then please make sure to check out the information on my website. It's under the readings section, under full and new moon readings, and then please make sure to shoot me an email or come through the contact page on my website. My website is solarah.info, and I have two emails I work with predominantly through this channel. That would be solarah@solarah.info or dailyalkhemy with a K @gmail.com. Okay, so in order to book with me, I speak with you and correspond with you via email. Okay, so that's the only real announcement I have. Let me think. Okay, we're going to get into these energies. I have to apologize to you guys for being a little bit sporadic with posting over here. It might not feel sporadic to you because y'all know that I go with, divine flow. But it feels that way to me because I had intentions of coming on here many times, but I've been going through a lot of my own activations, a lot of purging, and in the midst of it, illness also that then swept through, the entire household. So my children have been under the weather, and we all are in a state of active recovery. But I've missed you guys. So I might not be on here too long tonight, but I do have a lot of downloads, and I'm trying to figure out how to organize them all because I could do like a big ass super reading that's like an hour and 40 minutes long. But I think I actually want to break it up a little bit. So I'm going to see what direction my guides bring me. But I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about some of the things I've been picking up. So this eclipse energy has been huge, right? It's not even the eclipse, like the shifts that have been occurring since the equinox are monumental. And the reason they're so monumental from the guidance that I've been receiving is it's all to do with the fact that many of you have reached a stage in your healing where you're ready to access your light bodies. It's time for your light bodies to be reactivated back into their power. Okay, so for that reason, there's been a lot of purging happening on all levels that from what I could see, it really, like I said, it began in the equinox, the full moon in Aries, it was like full throttle, and through this eclipse window, the purging continues. And if you happen to watch the tarot astrology reading I did for the eclipse, the new moon in Libra eclipse that I mentioned at the beginning of this, if you happen to watch it, then you'll know that I was speaking about how my guides were sharing that there has been a death portal that has been opened. And when I say a death portal, I'm talking about a portal where all these energies that need to die are being sent. That's what it kind of feels like, and it feels like this in collaboration with the 1010 portal. That's what this eclipse opened up. It feels like with Saturn presently sitting at that 0 degrees in Pisces, it's all part of this grand portal that is clearing out a lot of this energy that has been clinging to us. It's been clinging to us for dear life. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the messages I've been getting, and then I'll probably do a quick reading and call it a night. But what I really want to talk to you about tonight, and I want to keep it kind of brief, is this message that my guides have been speaking to me, especially through this new moon eclipse window, and that is that the stars of the new age are rising. The stars of this new age are rising, and the reason they really were beginning to speak louder to me about this concept of the stars of this new age are rising is because when the sun and the moon reached their new moon, the point of the new moon on Saturday, when they were both at 21 degrees Libra, and the eclipse occurred, Mercury was stationed at 17 degrees Libra. And when I was doing the breakdown for the tarot astrology report on those energies, my guides were really speaking to me about, well, first of all, 17 is the star card in the tarot. It is an Aquarian energy, but astrologically speaking, it is a degree of Leo, which is very interesting to me because Leo and Aquarius, of course, are sister signs. We are in the age of Aquarius. We are rooting in this new golden age, and the last golden age was, of course, the age of Leo. So there was something that Mercury was speaking very profoundly through this eclipse portal about the alignment of energies that are necessary for us to step into the truth of who we are. But it's more than that. It's for those of you who have come to this turn of the ages with information and wisdom from the previous golden age. A lot of that wisdom is now ready to be activated, and it's time for you to rise in that truth, and it's time for you to shine. Okay, and many of you have been in hermit mode, and there's been a very real reason, why that has been, beyond the fact that, like I've been telling you since like Virgo season and before Virgo season, since the 8/8 portal, it was a really, you can't ascend with other beings. It's a very intimate and personal pursuit, just like dying and being born. And so as such, the information I was really getting around Leo season was that the 8/8 portal was something that it was time for us to go through alone. And throughout Virgo season, I kept on getting that energy of we need to be doing a lot of things right now alone. And when I say alone, I'm not saying to completely cut people out, but I am saying that the focus needs to be on getting through these, it's getting through these portals and reaching our own individual higher timelines. Okay, and so the other reason for this that my guides were really speaking to me about is that many people, as you rise into the fullness of who you actually always have been before the Matrix came in through, people, programs, institutions, systems, try to dim your light and, completely disempower you. As you start to rise out of all of that and you begin to access the fullness of who you are as a multidimensional being, both your shadow and your lighter aspects come into union within self, and you really gain mastery of who you are. As you rise into that power, it can make people uncomfortable. It can make people uncomfortable who are either not moving as rapidly as you, or who are not vested in healing and rising for themselves at all. And so throughout this whole process, it's been very interesting, because ascension ultimately means recognizing that you are a being who, as you shift your perspective and shift into, higher expressions of your truth, that you actually are changing frequency. And as you change frequency, the people that you may have been in alignment with or on the same wavelength, it can shift between, you guys too. So it's really important to recognize that as you timeline jump or timeline shift, you are shifting in frequencies. Hence the reason why there was such an emphasis on really learning how to go through these portals alone without the external pressure of, the external pressure of having to align with other beings' expectations for you based upon previous different expressions of who you were, maybe even yesterday. Some of you have been changing so rapidly, jumping timelines so quickly, that it's been really imperative that you go through this alone, because otherwise there would have been too much drama, is really what it comes down to. So the truth is that so many couldn't handle weaker expressions of your light and your darkness. There were many people who couldn't even handle you when you weren't fully expressing your power, because you hadn't fully tapped into it. There were many people who you made uncomfortable even when you weren't in this higher expression of your truth, right? So what my guides are saying is that they'd better get out of the way for the full expression. They'd better get out of the way for the full expression. Okay, because the light body activations, they're happening rapidly now. And what I'm noticing with that is that at every turn, it feels like, one second. It feels like the threat or the attacks have kind of changed, in the sense that they're a lot more subtle, and you have the very the very obvious ones, and they're obvious because now they've been exposed. But then the ones that are still trying to hide in our fields are the ones that are trying to really make us doubt who we are at this time. There's a lot of energies to try to make us doubt our truth right now. And a lot of energies, frequencies being put out to put us in discouragement and fear is really what it comes down to. But what it is that it's really trying to get you back into a place of being at war with yourself in any way, shape, or form, because like I was saying in that tarot astrology reading, and not even just that, when I was discussing with you guys before Libra season, in the discussion I did about materializing karmic justice for self in real time, I broke down the decans of Libra and what they all meant, like the first decan of Libra season, the second, and now we're in the third. So we are in the 20 to 29 degrees of Libra. It's the final decan of Libra. And I think we're at 22 degrees right now, maybe 23. And that card is the Four of Swords. And so what I was saying that Libra season is a setup of various tests for us as divine beings to see where we stand in terms of our own ability to connect with our higher value at this point, and to own it, and to believe it, and to live like we know it. And so, as such, one of the main themes of Libra season was helping us to pinpoint and see blind spots. And then in this final decan, it's all about seeing those energies and those that have kept us at war with self, right? That have taken away our ability to be in inner peace, to have a sense of harmony internally. And when I say harmony, I'm talking about mentally, emotionally. It's already been established spiritually through your own warfare, and you're taking back your peace on those grounds. But then it has to be matched through the mental balance, the feeling at home again in your own mind and how you think about yourself, right? And then your emotions have to match it in order for you to give birth to this new life that is balanced and is a harbinger for the peace externally that is first born within. And so as such, this Libra season is very much about us taking back our own sense of inner peace and harmony through our ability to come into union with many aspects of self that have been at war, many aspects of our duality consciousness that can still exist, but must come into what they would call the oneness point, right? In other words, we can no longer be fighting against the beauty of our shadow. We can no longer be fighting against the aspects of our light that are out of balance at times. We must come into full acceptance of every part of what we are. And it's not about perfection. It's about acceptance and no longer living in states of self-deception, because the matrix binds us into their grids and into their cycles when pockets of self-deception live within us. And so the whole point of Virgo season was eliminating that. Libra season has been about coming into unity within self. Now that we've come to a place of higher acceptance. And that doesn't mean that we still don't have work to do. It just means that you've reached, the upper echelon of your healing as far as those union energies are concerned. But it doesn't mean you still don't have the ability to go higher. It just means that right now you're probably at the highest peak that you have yet to experience in this lifetime, if that makes sense. So the programs of the matrix and those that are still under matrix programs, they hate when you love yourself. Have you ever noticed, and this is something that I had to come to terms with a few years ago. I had a friend, and I would talk to her about these things, and I'd said to her at one point, I said, you don't have to, how we're often told that your true friends are the ones that are there for you in hard times. And I said to her, that's bullshit. I said to her, that's bullshit, because through my experience, many people love to show up for you when you're down and out, because it helps them to feel as if they're doing better in life. They love it. And those ones that will show up and support you when you're going through something shitty, the minute you start to rise out of it, especially those ones who are really wanting to be helpful, the minute you start to rise out of it, it was like, for me, it's like crickets. All of a sudden, there's no support. It was like when my ex beat the living crap out of me, almost to the point of taking my life, everyone wanted to show up with, you know, lunch and dinner and, you know, because they wanted to know what was happening, right? But the minute I started to rise and take my power back and advocate for victims of domestic violence, I couldn't even get a, wow, like, well done for none of that. None of that. All of these people that loved to come around me when I was broken, when I put myself back together and I put myself out there to start to help other people to put themselves back together too, they'd be watching me, like, you know, how this whole social media thing is set up, especially on Instagram, which in my opinion is like the biggest energy harvesting social media platform in existence. But that's a whole other story, right? They'd be watching, they'd be in the stories. But the minute that you post anything about, I post anything about that, crickets. And it was just like, oh, you liked me broken. You like to be able to look at me and think, wow, I'm doing better than you. So for me, it shifted my whole mentality, and it was just like, your true friends are not the ones that come around you when you're down and out. Your true friends are the ones who, as you rise, they continue to celebrate you and lift you up and want to see you get better. They don't want to cap you off at a certain level, because at that level they no longer feel like they're above you in some way. Okay, so I say that because, like I said, the programs of the Matrix and those who are under these Matrix programs, and oftentimes these Matrix programs are to do with envy programming. They programmed us all into lack, and then they constantly make us compare ourselves to one another. That's the point of, you know, all of these media platforms, is to make you, and all of these, before there was social media, it was, advertising. All of this stuff has been designed to make you feel less than and to want something else that someone else seems to have, which really a lot of the time is an illusion anyway. It's all Matrix programming, right? And the whole point, when you are wanting something that somebody else has, that is the spirit of envy that is working in tandem between that person that is displaying that as well as with you. And they know this. This is why I call them the envy spells, because you're not going to envy someone or something when you are in a place of feeling secure about who you are and what it is you have. And at every turn, the Matrix doesn't want you to have that. And not only does it not want you to have that, but it hates when you love yourself. The Matrix hates when you love yourself. The programs, the systems, the groups are designed to make you hate yourself and be at war with yourself. And this is exactly what the programming does to those people who are still under the spell. It makes them, as you rise into loving yourself more and creating a life that is more representative of that sense of self-love and self-value, it actually causes them to reject you, or it causes them to try to find fault with you or to judge you. And the reason for that is because they're under the Matrix programming, where they don't like that you love yourself. The Matrix teaches us all to be at war with self, war with one another, and to keep ourselves in those states through the socialization of lack is really what it is. The socialization that further promotes lack. So the more that you love your life and the experience of just being you, the more haters you get. And that's Matrix programming also. So this is important. This is why a lot of you were called in this time to be alone. To really just be alone, because it is time for your star to rise. And it's time for your star to rise without other beings casting their shadow on top of you to try to put out that light, whether it's conscious or unconscious at this level, because we're all healing through these spells. We're all healing through them. So the envy programming, or lack programming, because that's what it is, is designed to make you feel bad. One second, I can't read my own writing. It's designed to make you feel bad, specifically by way of others casting and projecting their shadow onto you in response to your feeling good. So anytime you climb and you rise and you begin to feel good and feel more confident about yourself, these beings, through the various social agendas and NB programming and all of that of the Matrix, are designed to put you back into a lower place by making you feel less than, or make you feel bad for the fact that you're actually loving yourself and loving your life. And they do that in a variety of ways. I'm sure you know that. They'll find any reason also. Before I was very awake, I was so sure that that I was the problem, as opposed to other beings and their insecurities, because they'll find anything to try to take you out of your place of confidence, is really what it is. You know, I had a situation with a person who, because I started to stand up for myself and you know, love myself more. And for me, like I've shared with you guys briefly before, I am a survivor of you know, a domestically violent marriage. And like I was saying to you in the beginning of the video a few minutes ago, my ex almost took my life the last time I allowed him to come close to me. And as such, he did a huge ass number on my face. And it took a lot for me to get to where I am now, where I'm able to be on camera and be okay with it, you know, and share my face, share my story, talk to you guys in the way that I do. And any of you who have a channel or who have begun doing this kind of work, you know how difficult it is just to put yourself out there. And, you know, all of the other issues aside, like the algorithm and all this other shit, all of that aside, I'm talking about that challenge within self to be confident enough to put yourself on the camera and not feel silly about it. It's like a huge ass fucking internal battle. So that's already there. But for me, I had one extra obstacle or challenge to get through, in that every time I saw my face, I was reminded of what he'd done to me. Because for those of you who see me, you can't see it, but I can see it still. I can see how my face has not fully returned to what it was before that night, you know? And why am I saying all of this? I forgot now. Oh, so I say all of this to say that when I challenged myself a few years ago to start getting on camera more, to get used to seeing myself again, to get over, I didn't want it to have power over me anymore. Okay, so I started to put myself out there more, not even on YouTube. At the time it was on my Instagram. It was very small. It was like a private, like family and friends only, but that's where I began. I wanted to be comfortable with expressing myself and showing my face and all of that other stuff. And I did, and I started to have fun with it, because on the low, I'm a bit of a comedian. I was doing like sketches with my kids. We were having a really good time, and people can't stand it when you're having a good time, especially when they've seen you down and out and they want to keep you there because it makes them feel better about their own lives. And I had one person who'd seen me go through all of this stuff and, you know, hasn't been through half the trauma I've been through, but has so many hang-ups about coming on camera and stuff that they tried to constantly bring me down and tell me that I was arrogant and I was a narcissist and I was obsessed with myself and all of this other shit. And it's just like, you don't even know the inner battles I've waged just to get here, and you just lack confidence and don't want to put yourself out there, which is fine, you know, no real judgment there, but then don't try to judge me, you know what I mean? So people will do their best to rain on your parade, especially when you're like climbing up, like you're clawing your way up out of the muck and the mire of the karmic shit, and then these beings see you poke your head up a little bit, You know, just a little bit of the sun hits the top of your head and they're like, that's too much shine. Let me put you back down there. You get what I'm saying? And this whole energy of the stars of this new age are rising. There is no more of that shit happening anymore. You will not be dunked back into darkness. You will not be put back into a box. If other people feel uncomfortable or insecure because of your, vivaciousness, vibrancy, wonderfulness, beautifulness, strength, power, glory, that's their fucking problem, and they need to tune into that frequency within themselves. There's no more feeling guilty for being beautiful. There's no more feeling guilty for being wonderful. There's no more feeling guilty for being inspirational. There's no more feeling guilty for being intelligent. There's no more feeling guilty for having it all. There's no more feeling guilty that you're able to pick up a skill like this while they spend 5 years and whatever it might be. There's so much envy, especially around those of you who are especially gifted. So much envy, and it's enough. That envy is what has kept you down. Beings who so badly want to be like you that some of them are out here fucking casting spells to try to steal your shit and not wanting you to know, never wanting you to tune in. It's your time to shine. It's your time to shine. The stars of this new age are rising. And the fake stars of the old one are dying. They're fading away. You can already see it happening. You can already see it happening. So yeah, I don't think I want to go too much farther into that. Those are all the notes I have for that little this message about your star is rising now. And like I said, this death portal that's opened up, it's taking away a lot of this shit. I don't joke about this stuff, and I don't say these kinds of things lightly, but after I recorded that tarot astrology reading on Saturday, my guides were just like, that this portal is quite literally a death portal, as well as just taking out things energetically. And so I was like, well, what do you mean? And they said, the frequency of the planet must rise. Your ability to tune into your divine frequencies can no longer be blocked. And as you guys, you, me, us, as we rise higher into our divine frequencies, we are the ones who are raising the frequency of this earth. And here's the thing. Those beings who have chosen to live and stay stuck in lower frequencies through lower vibrational being, not just thinking or lower vibrational energy, lower vibrational being that has established a lower frequency that is their stasis, they will not survive this increase of frequency on the planet. That's already happened. There are many beings that, like I said it before, many of them have had to fuck off the planet because they cannot live here anymore. They cannot survive in this expanded bandwidth of energy. And this is what this death portal, death and birth happen simultaneously. You're birthing your divine frequency and the truth of who you've always been. And in doing so, you're getting rid, you're shedding, we're shedding, individually, collectively, globally, those lower vibrational energies that can't come along. That's what the purging has been about. It's been about getting rid of those energies that existed at a lower frequency, and now that you've risen to a higher one, they must go. That's why many of you have been going through the purging. Those energies cannot survive. The higher you climb in frequency, the more those lower vibrational energies must expose themselves. I hope that makes sense. So, this portal that's being opened up, we're going to see a lot of stuff begin to happen. You know, for beings that can't hold this energy, can't hold this frequency. And most of the time it's because they've chosen not to do the work. They've made free will choices to live a certain way. So, yeah, it's literal and it's energetic. Where do you want me to go? Ooh, too many. Waking the Lion wanted to come out. It didn't. 22:22 on my clock. A higher view. Look at her. She's riding on this giant owl. This giant owl energy, it's not the first time it's come out for me in the past week. My children were talking about a giant owl. I don't know what that means. I know that the owl is an emblem of Athena. I do know that. I know that the owl speaks of secret wisdom and information. I know that the owl energy is somewhat connected to some of these secret societies for that reason. Athena is, isn't she the Roman goddess of war? Isn't she the Roman goddess of war? Bear with me a second, I should know this, but I can't. It's evading me right now. Athena. Wisdom, warfare, and handicraft. Oh, she's a Greek goddess, I'm sorry. I get mixed up all the time with my ancient and with my Greek and Roman pantheon, because I don't really vibe with those energies. I go back farther. I know them, I know of them, but I vibe with the true ancients. So, okay. Okay. I did kind of know that, so I was right. Athena is the goddess, Greek goddess of warfare and wisdom and handicraft. And this is what I was saying the other day, like there's a new window, there's a shift in the warfare. There's a shift in the warfare that is occurring for many of you now. The shift is a collective shift, meaning that the energy is available for all of us. But whether we access that energy or not is based upon whether we are in alignment. The higher we are in alignment with our own truth, the more access we have to this energy that is opening up, that is bringing an end and a close to a lot of this warfare for many of you. Okay, so with this, I don't know if you can see, she is literally riding on the back of a giant owl. And like I said, if the owl is a symbol of, you know, secret knowledge, secret wisdom, and we even have that element of Athena and warfare, it's almost like she's riding out of something. And like I said, like with this higher view, it's like she's riding higher and so can no longer be touched. She's riding higher and so can no longer be touched. And that's what I'm really feeling with these energies of the eclipse, with this, you know, so-called death portal, as they were calling it, is that this death portal is literally sucking out those energies, like I said, those stubborn energies that have been clinging and refusing to let you go and rise into your stardom, rise into your power, rise into your truth, rise into your rightful position in this age. those energies are having to like let go, you know, like I'm seeing like these fingers that are like almost like, you know, like someone's dead hand having to like remove the hand that is like stuck and dead, and has become like it's mortified at this point. It's rigor mortis has set in almost. And that was another energy coming through. I'm going to do a reading on this, but there was a whole like a slew of information and downloads that were coming up for some of you. This eclipse brought the complete ending and closing to some of you who've had a past life nemesis who chased you into this incarnation from the previous golden age. And that's for those of you who you didn't get stuck in the reincarnation cycles of the Matrix, but you incarnated here. You chose to come here at this turn of the age. Some of you, they would call you volunteers or whatever, but and volunteers come at any level. Some of you were volunteers and you came through the whole process of being born. Some of you are volunteers in that, what do they call them, walk-ins or whatever. Like that stuff is possible too, but what I was really getting, this was a story about someone who is incarnated and hasn't been here for their lessons of evolution since the previous golden age, and there's a whole story behind it that I'm looking forward into getting into. But there was another character who was stuck here and has been recycling and cycling through, and there was some kind of reason why they latched themselves onto you this incarnation specifically, because they had an issue with you from another one, but their soul battery, their life force is so low that they've been harnessing energy from many beings, including you, and they can't anymore. They can't anymore. There's something about you having put to death that possibility through the work that you've done for yourself and against them harvesting you, that has also closed them off to being able to do that to other beings too. And this death portal is going to be big in terms of taking them out. And when I mean taking them out, for some it might be a literal physical death, and for others it might be just a death of everything that they built off of other beings' energy, you know, or all of the above. But that was coming in. I need to sit down a little bit more with those notes, because there were a lot of details, and I'm looking forward to coming back and speaking about that. But okay, at the bottom of the deck we do have a grand symphony, like I said. The stars are aligned now for you to rise. What were the exact words? The stars of this new age are rising because everything is in alignment now for you to do so. That's why Mercury was articulating itself through that 17th degree of Libra as we were going through that eclipse portal on Saturday. Okay, are we done with this deck? I guess so. I guess so. Let's go into some tarot then. Numerology deck is what you're saying. Numerology. Judgment. I cut the cards right at Judgment. Why did I pick up this deck? This is not the Numerology deck. This is the Numerology deck. Another thing I've been picking up on, and I probably will get into this in a completely different reading about light body activations in general. You know, like how a lot of the time the attacks have been against our crown, I've really been feeling like recently, it's not even an attack against your main, you know, what they would call your main 7 chakras. It's really been an attack against the Earth Star and the Soul Star specifically. That message was coming through very, very strongly for me. It's been an attack specifically against the Earth Star and the Soul Star. And we're going to get into why that might be, because a lot of us were coming online in 2020. We were coming online with we were getting a lot of light body activations, and for many of you didn't even know what that was. I know I didn't know what it was at the time, but I was seeing it in meditation. I saw my Merkaba, I saw it spinning, I saw myself in it with another person, and the minute I'd see things occur in my Merkaba, it was instant manifestation. Instantly those things would occur. Okay, and then all of a sudden, that was around the eclipse of 2020, earlier on in the year while the nodes were still in Cancer and Capricorn. And then once we hit the equinox, the autumn equinox that year in October, around the full moon in Aries, I started to see other things in meditation, and I started to see that they were taking us offline. And I couldn't fully compute it at the time. But now that I know what I know and I look back on all of those downloads, now I know what was happening. So a lot of you are picking up where you left off in 2020, but in grander ways. In grander ways. Step out of your comfort zone. Step out of your comfort zone, North Node. And then we have the full moon in Aries, a fiery climax approaches. So we just had, the last full moon was a full moon in Aries. Okay, and it definitely did take us out of our comfort zone. I know the people I've talked to about it took y'all out of your comfort. I know it took me out of my comfort zone. You know, and it needed to, because like I said, it needs to purge. It needed to purge by fire those energies that, as you've climbed to a higher frequency, have been being, you know, exposed. I know for some of you also, and then as I move that, we've got a win-win outcome is forecast with the full moon in Libra, sister energies. Balancing, there's a grand balancing happening. I know that somebody was saying to me also that they've been going through an intense parasite cleanse, and I found that so interesting because that is exactly what we're doing at this time. For many of you who have been purging on the physical side, that might be something that you've been doing, because these parasites, they are planted. They're planted, and the reason I say that is because I was just scrolling through YouTube earlier on, and you know how Spirit will just give you, you know, messages, and there was a video that just came up on my feed, and I don't even know what, I know why divinely, but in terms of what I watch on YouTube, I don't know why it came up. And it was this video of this hornet. It was from a few years ago, and there had been a whole bunch of hornets that they were calling murder hornets, I think in Japan, and it was because of their aggressive and violent way of behaving. And this, I don't know whether this person was like an animal, you know, like a veterinarian, I don't know. But either way, this man performed, he removed out of the hornet, one of these that they were calling the murder hornets, a parasite. And it was tiny, it was like this big, but inside a hornet, that's huge. And he pulled that thing out. And people don't realize that parasites on a physical level can completely change a person's demeanor, personality, mood. It's literally an energy that is living off of you, and there's something it's tapping into. And because a lot of the time they happen to be in our gut, and you have, you know, the HIPAA axis between the gut and the brain, it can have really serious neurological effects on mental health, effects on, again, like I said, personality, perception, mood, emotional regulation, all of these things. And so, like I said, these parasites that many of you are choosing to detox and cleanse on the physical have been planted. And why would you plant parasites in us as living beings? Why would they do that, I wonder? Well, if it can make a hornet go crazy and do all manner of, that was weird, and do all manner of, you know, make it very aggressive and murderous and all this other stuff. If it can do that, then imagine what it can do to humans. Right? Okay, I'm going to finish. The energy is also feeling very scattered. It's feeling very scattered right now. It's feeling like there's a lot of confusion, and and the reason why I feel like that's the case also is because this is a grand state of calibration. Again, you know, ever since the equinox, it's finding the new balance in alignment through this Libra season with what it is that you choose or you've chosen to believe about yourself, and how you've chosen to align yourself with this higher frequency, that's higher frequency possibilities that have come in, and whether you're going to climb to reach them and sustain them, or whether we're going back. You know, we do have new moon in Sagittarius. Luck is on your side, so this is kind of showing me that this window between the full moon in Aries and the new moon in Sagittarius is going to be intense. And I've already gotten that message, to be completely frank. When I was tuning in with my guides, I was just like, so how much longer we got to deal with some of this, you know, craziness? And they were just like, well, you know, if you thought Libra season was interesting, Scorpio season's about to be pretty lit. And I was like, oh, so when do we get a break? Around, you know, Sagittarius season, things will start to, you know, temperance cards start to balance a little bit more. But we are going through a period of, you know, finding a new balance, and also exercising the energies that can no longer stay in balance. And then we've also got all of these eclipse energies that are magnifying this. So we do have adjustments are required. So like I said, this is the energy of, there's a recalibration that's happening right now. So, and this is where it can get a little bit funky, because things feel unstable, things feel confusing. These energies want to come in and play games with your mind also. It's tiring, right? But at the end of the day, it's because what reality are you going to grab a hold of now? What truth are you going to grab a hold of now? What are you going to apply your mental and emotional energy to now? Are you going to apply your mental and your emotional energy to, you know, the confusion and the fear of what that means, and going backwards? Are you really going to believe that you are wielding power and mastery over any and every storm, including these energies of chaos, which are here to put you in higher alignment for as long as you know how to ride the storm and to wield mastery over it? You know? So I think that's where I'm going to leave it, because 53 minutes is not exactly short, but it's not like an hour and 15 minutes. So anyway, I hope that this reading, this discussion, these downloads, hanging out has been fruitful for you, helpful, enlightening, inspiring, empowering. Yes. For all information on how to work with me, I've already told you, you can check out my website, So-La-Rah.info. Information is in the description box below. If you would like to donate to my work in the channel, you can do so through my PayPal. That information is below. I want to thank you all, those of you who do donate, those of you who have recently. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you for supporting my work. Thank you. It really does mean a lot. So I'm going to sign off now. I am sending you guys so much love, joy, peace, stability, focus, stability within, more peace. Every beautiful thing under the sun that is ultimately yours and your divine birthright for as long as you are living like you know that. Yes? So I'll see you again. Until next time, be well.